Welcome back to part 5 of your ACCA SBL pre-season information for Athletic Transcentral, where in this video we're going to take you through the final part, the key bits of information that you need to know ahead of your examination. We'll be going through my exclusive notes, as I'm sure you've seen from the series. As always, if you'd like to access them, the link is down below, along with Astranti's affiliate links if you want to have a look through a mock paper, see their free resources. I am affiliated with them for pure transparency as ever. If you were to purchase anything, I have to say this, it means I get a small commission on there that supports the YouTube channel. But I'd rather let you guys know, and I hope it helps because the team are great. I've done some videos with them and they're really sweet on there. So let's get straight into it. They're definitely going to help you, and I want to provide as much value as I can in this video. Now, if you've not watched any of the other videos of parts 1 to 4, then that's up to you. I take you through absolutely every single key thing, and what we're on to now is the stadium. And this is where you can see there's so much on there. You could be tested on or have to consider the stadium in a variety of different ways. So where are we at in terms of this? So the stadium itself, and we have, just for context, we've touched on it in the previous video, it's built 90 years ago, but the top 3 teams in Division 1 have all moved to new stadiums in the last 8 years. So Athletic Transcentral are already a bit behind the curve there, where they don't have state-of-the-art facilities. They do for the training ground, but not for the stadium. In terms of the capacity, it's at full capacity for the men's matches. They've got competition from local clubs that are in a short vicinity, that fans who maybe can't get to the game may swap teams, if you're allowed to do that as a fan. There are some people out there. But it's a case of there is limited parking, it's crowded, it's noisy, it's congested. Fans are not able to go see their team and therefore may swap and go to another one on there. But if they expanded the stadium to double the size, like we've seen what the other teams have done, that's where they have a massive opportunity, one for a revenue stream and to generate new fans on there. In terms of costing, we have now, it comes down to Athletic Transcentral's infrastructure to expand on there. It's outdated, as we said, and because of that, they have lots of maintenance expenditure, which has got significantly higher over the last 10 years. So that is going to be a operating expense in the income statement, and you can see, I'll just quickly flick it on here, the earnings before interest and tax, so the expenses that are being hit from that expenditure to maintain the stadium are probably linking into the profit before interest and tax going down on there. They have 30, so there are also 30 hospitality boxes for corporate clients, but the facilities are not suitable for AT to consider hosting other sporting events and concerts, which some of the other football clubs do offer on there. So this is an ANSOF matrix point on there. There's risk of fines for health and safety requirements. What if a fan sort of slipped or had a massive life-threatening injury, something like that? Could be really, really detrimental for Athletic Transcentral on there. But it's the opportunity, it's the way you frame it, of new revenue streams if they were to actually expand or develop the current stadium. Now, in my eyes, when we get onto this point now, 36,700 fans, and we have a small shop, is just so small for such a big club on there. That's another revenue stream when we look at the figures later on you've got to consider. But when it comes to, right, we've got this stadium that's 90 years old, we've got 2 options. We either expand the current stadium, so that is a bit like what Manchester United, Liverpool do, is they put more seats in the current stadium as it stands and use that because it's already on the plot of land. Or, like you can see here, AT owns the land on which the stadium is built and the land which is adjacent to the stadium. So maybe it could be that that is big enough to house a new stadium, so completely new, state-of-the-art, and then when the new stadium is built, knock down the old stadium and use it maybe for car parking. Who knows on there? But it's just throwing it out there for things that could come up and you may have to consider. The training facilities, on the other hand, this is the interesting thing, that they've invested 30 years ago in new training facilities and they were upgraded 5 years ago. So these are some of the best to actually attract talent. So the best football players, which increases the chances of you getting higher up in the league on there. But then it's a case of AT, for these training facilities, send their under 18s to a nearby facility that they hire. So they're going, why do they not all train at the same place? Is there some implication on that? Is there a personal or ethical factor? Not sure. We could be given more information on that on the exam day. And the other factor I put in there is they'll spend money on a training ground, but then they won't develop an academy to build up new players. So again, why have they not built an academy or developed it within the actual training facilities? Definitely something you should have and be aware of in your points that you can make. When it comes to the commercial activities there, they have a number of commercial sponsors. Key one for your notes, they do not have a lead sponsor on there. So sponsorship is actually the joint second highest revenue stream, and they haven't even got a lead sponsor. So you can see it at the bottom there, just to the side of me. It's at $64 million, and they haven't even got a lead sponsor on there. It hasn't sold the naming rights to the stadium. So that's the new camp where Barcelona play is called the Spotify Nou Camp. So maybe you could put in your points that they could find a brand that they'd want to put their name to with the stadium, and therefore it would again be another revenue stream on there. There are 3 suppliers for the actual kits that they sell to customers and kids and fans, but I'm thinking, well, why don't we just have one supplier that can go regionally and internationally, and then maybe we can benefit from some economies of scale. Again, just some final points just to touch on, because then that would hopefully reduce the risk. I'm coming up to the top right now of replica kits being sold on the black market for it. The Boston Consulting group mix on there, group matrix, shall I say, points that be linked to it, limiting ranges. And again, they've touched on, they only have a small shop at the stadium, and that could be a capacity issue. And they've got limited ranges of clothing and accessories. And again, fans now want, supply and demand for different areas. They don't just want the kit, they may want gifts as well. And finally, the official replica kit is the only product that can be ordered online. So a massive opportunity there for them to be looking at another revenue streams. Why haven't they done it before? In terms of visibility, AT also licenses production for those replica kits and expects, and this is one thing, why couldn't AT license and distribute the kits themselves? Why couldn't they find it? Or, something isn't quite right where they've got 3 options already. And the last thing, why would they put in that sentence at the end? AT expects suppliers to treat their employees fairly and provide good working conditions. And when I read that, expects, you just think to yourself, surely on the exam day, they're going to bring up something of an ethical or a value point of view. Maybe we could link it back to one of those non-financial KPIs on there. So definitely get that down in your notes. It's a grey area which you go, why would they put that in if it isn't something we could refer to? The AT website extracts itself, and this is where you've got to break down in your notes the mission overall to be one of the leading clubs in Kyland. Oh, and okay, that's great. They are a football team, but what about the local community? Are they going to? Why didn't they refer to anything else in the mission? Maybe that linked to some of their KPIs, and then the values, which again I haven't got a crystal ball, but it links into areas of pestle on here, where we've got transparency about being open, balanced, honest about challenges, the community and safeguarding of young players, and the positive impacts, player conduct, stakeholders, environment. It's one of those parts of the pre-seed materials which you just go, please don't expect everything to be sunshine and rainbows on the exam day. Things are going to go wrong, things are going to happen, and things are going to have to be sorted out that you're going to have to talk about objectively, and referring directly back to those values to say, does it adhere to these values? Does it link to the KPIs? And that is where you're going to pick up on more marks on there. I've also just put on, in fact, we'll put it on here so you can see it a bit better, some of the SBL key theories. I haven't got that crystal ball, I cannot predict for you, but those are the 5: SWOT analysis, Pestle, Porter, Ansoff, and then the Boston Consulting Group matrix. It's a case of you have to be aware of all of those theories, how they work, and then the key bit, application to the scenario. It's not, if you were very lucky in the exam, it may tell you, use a SWOT analysis, use Pestle, but it's usually going to give you hints about, say, the environment or political factors, and then you go, oh, that must be Pestle on there. It's just, you'll be at a severe disadvantage if you are not hot on those theories. And last but not least, we were given right at the end the accounting year end, which is the 31st of May. So that's where the 1st of June 2002 would be the first day of the season. Now, why is that important? You could be given something specifically date-wise, and you've got to maybe come to terms with, does it fall in the current period? Is it an event after the reporting period? Something on those lines. If you see a specific date on the exam day for the unseen information, just check it off to see which period it refers to with that year end. And then with the annual report, they also put on there about the director's report, financial information, future strategies, team performance on there. And you're sort of going, well, that doesn't sort of link into the mission of let's just do as best we can. They're more sort of thinking of community initiatives and the supporters and the relations they have. So definitely noting those down as to, from Athletic Transcentral, what they publish in the annual report. Are they complying? Are they including all the required information for the legislation, as that could lead to risk of fines on there for non-compliance. And last but not least, we have the nice diagrams that we're provided with in terms of the total revenue, revenue by sector on there, earnings before interest and tax, and depreciation and amortization, and those relevant earnings for financial fair play. So this is where, going into the exam, you haven't got time to go through the pre-C materials again. You've got time to maybe flick back to one or two just to make sure you've got the right detail down. But summarising, it's the league position over the 3-year period where that revenue has been increasing. Remember, they finished 8th, 6th and 5th, but the revenue has gone up and up and up because they've maintained being in the top 8 position. So automatically you've got to think there, what if they dropped out of it? What would be the implications for this? They touched on the match day revenue and splitting it out as to match day and retail are into 2 different areas, but they are not effectively utilising the club shop on match days, the refreshments, were not given the season tickets, how many are actually sold. These are other factors that in your exam be really specific to the type of revenue, what is being sold, and the potential return from those sales as well. Lastly, we have the earnings before interest and tax. The football club is becoming less and less profitable because the players' salaries are getting more and more higher. And then that one of the areas, we may be given more information on the exam day for more specific figures, but the bottom line is they're becoming less and less profitable, even though their revenue is going up and up and up, and the team is performing worse and worse and worse. And the other final thing, especially as they don't have an academy to bring in players at a value of naught, their relevant earnings for financial fair play, where just as a reminder that we're currently at a position of, we've got 60, 40, 20, so it's on, again, a downward trajectory. If they were to fall below -5 million for a 3-year period, that is where they would breach financial fair play and therefore potentially have points deductions, relegation, and it would be really detrimental to the football club. So again, they've even kind of given you 3 years and then left you a gap on the side to say, maybe we might give you some more information on there for you to calculate. But it is not looking rosy for relevant earnings, for financial fair play. Why would they give you this information if they weren't probably going to make you calculate it, or if something was going to happen from that as a result? And that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us through the finishing of part 5, all of my exclusive notes, which you are more than welcome to access. Click the link down below, you can download them yourself, but it's just giving you the insights, what I'd be having in my mind going into your SBL exam, so that you are fully prepared for all that unseen information on the exam day. If you like the video, like the series, make sure you subscribe, give it a massive like as always. Thank you so much for all the support. Leave me a comment below what you actually thought of the video, and best of luck at your exam, and I'll see you on the other side for another SBL video that's going to get you that 50+. So thank you very much, as always, cheers.